What's up, guys? A little bit of old school vibes going on back in the car. Yeah, look, regulars to the channel. I'm going to be doing every 2 weeks is going to be my higher quality video. That's going to be scripted, heavily edited. And then every other 2 weeks is more sort of off the cuff style video. I really do want to put out some quality content, higher level stuff. I'm just not able to do that once a week with my schedule. Only every 2 weeks can I dedicate a really quality video. So the every other 2 weeks is just me getting on the camera, a little bit less editing. At the end of the day, guys, I've told you this, it's about the message, right? Anyway, so onto the subject of the video. I did a short video last week, I think it was, a week before, and it was titled the same as this: communication is not the key to a successful relationship. And it got a bit of pushback. I had a few guys message me and they were like, well, you know, that's stupid the way women communicate. That's falling into their frame. And women are so confusing these days. How the hell are we ever going to just be a guy who gets it? And I understand that and I empathize with that massively. And I've gone through that myself in my own relationships. I do struggle with this concept. I do struggle with just being a man who gets it, right? For a woman who, you know, doesn't have to always tell the man what you got to do. So I completely understand it, and I want to go into more detail about what I meant by it and how men can navigate this sort of female style of communication. Okay, so I've been, as a married guy, I've been many times meeting up. You go with other couples and other married couples, etc., and you sit there and the topic comes up about what makes a good relationship. And almost every time it's the guy that says this, and I'm sure you've heard it, we've all heard it, and it is always the guy that says it: communication is the key to a great relationship. And every single time the guy says it, the woman goes quiet, right? She often looks down and she looks a bit uncomfortable. She knows it's not the truth, right? You see, for guys, communication would be the key, right? If we don't like something, we'll say it. If we want something to be different, we want to change something, we'll say it. That's how us guys communicate. That's how we want our women to communicate with us. But it's not how women communicate, right? Women, I've said it before, women are definitely covert in their communication. Men are overt, women are covert. They talk in riddle and cold. They leave clues along the way, yeah? And they'll start dropping hints. If you're not doing something that they want you to do, or acting or behaving in a way that they don't agree with, or they don't like, or they want it to change, they'll start dropping hints, you know, and they'll start saying things here and there. Whatever it may be, I can't really give it examples, but they'll start doing that. And if you're not picking up on the hints, eventually they'll come to the point where they will be overt with you. But that is their sort of last line of fucking defense, right? That's their last weapon in their arsenal that they're going to use. They reach a point of desperation when they get to that point, when they just say it how it is. And ideally for a woman, she doesn't even get to the point where she's dropping hints, right? She's talking in their code that they talk in. Ideally, they're with a man, like I said, a man who just gets it. A man that doesn't need to be told. That's what women like, guys, whether you agree with this or not. Okay, whether you think it's female frame or not, or any of that other stuff. What women like, what turns women on in a man, is a man who just takes full responsibility, just understands women, right? Is in control of his own life, okay? Who's a leader, provider, protector, he's romantic, he's spontaneous, and so on and so on. And he doesn't have to be told to do any of this stuff. He's just that. That's what women like, right? Now, how many of those guys are out there in the world that are going to get it all the time? I'll tell you, 0. There is no guy on the planet that will get it right every single time. Okay, that is never going to have to be told or dropped hints about what women like and what she likes and what she wants you to do. It's impossible to always be that way. So you've got to cut yourself some slack, and women have to cut men some slack as well with this. And I think they do. For the large part, they do. They understand it's never going to be perfect, and men are never always going to get it. But they do want a man who most of the time, and I say most of the time, you're probably talking like 90%, 95%, just understands it. So that's kind of the crux of what I mean by that. And then and so if women are dropping hints and then they reach the point of telling you exactly what it is, and then you change because she's told you and you finally understood it, they finally communicated like a man, like the men always want it to be. And you know, we get frustrated as men, right? We think women are stupid for being so, talking in these riddles, and women think we're stupid for not understanding them. But if you reach that point where you change your behavior because they've had to directly tell you, again, a woman's going to be like, you know, he's only changing because I've told him. And she's going to be disappointed. She's not going to think, well, he's acting this way because he is that way, or he wants to be that way. No, he's doing it because I've told him, and he'll probably slip back into old ways. And again, I'll hold my hands up. That's been me. So they don't want to do that. It's not a turn on for that, even if you do change, which is very, very frustrating for men, right? And very frustrating for women, of course. So you've got to try to be a man who understands female nature to a large degree and doesn't need to be told, right? Just takes the lead. Is the leader here in the relationship, is the assertive one who knows women's needs, etc., in certain scenarios and situations. And usually that happens with a guy who is holding frame in the relationship and the woman is operating within his frame. It's much more natural and easy for that. And that's the natural dynamics between the two. But that's not always the case. In fact, it's very rarely the case. And here's another problem guys really run into, and that they expressed concern to me, is that now women are so confused about what they want. Right, on one hand, they have their nature, okay, and if you're red pill aware, you understand a lot of that nature. And on the other hand, they have their feminist social programming, okay, and that they run counterintuitive to each other, the nature and the programming. And so you might be a guy who tries to get it, right, and understands female nature and tries to do something, but you might reap resistance in the form of that femme-centric train of thought, that feminism. And most women don't identify as feminists, right? They don't, most don't. But even the ones that don't, even the ones that say they're against it, they actually have quite a few feminist ideas without even knowing they do. So you're going to run into some conflict, some friction there, always. But I actually think this shouldn't be a source of frustration for men so much. I actually think this is a great filtering system. Because if you are a man who understands it and plays to the rules of female nature, generally, you do what you're meant to do. You do what you know that most women will like, and then you run into some conflict there. You're trying to take the lead. You know, you're the one who's being assertive and decides where you go and eat every weekend, for example, right? And then she's like, you know what? I want to be the one deciding. And there's constant battles like that. I think it's a great filtering system to filter out the women that are too heavily indoctrinated into that train of thought. And you just say, well, in the end, I don't think if she's constantly going to resist, and maybe I'll try and even coach her along the way and tell her, you know, this is not the train of thought you should have, this is your programming, blah, blah, blah. You could go down that route. And if you're constantly still met with that resistance, she's probably not the girl for you, and that's probably not the relationship for you. So there'll be someone better out there for you that will reciprocate that style of leadership in relationship and communication. So I don't think it should be a great source of frustration that women are so confused. It can be, I understand it. You will meet some resistance, but if you play the red pill game and you're met with too much resistance, okay, yep, it's too much of the feminist ideals in her mind, okay, find someone else. That's kind of what I think with that. I don't know, you tell me what you think, guys. You tell me your thoughts. I know the whole communication thing is, we wish as men, fucking women would just stop with the games, right? But that's the way women communicate. That is the game. That's the way it is. That's the way females communicate. It's been shown in studies. Their form of communication is more complex. Doesn't mean it's more intelligent, right? At the end of the day, we think it's dumb. Why, why dance around a subject and just get straight to the fucking point? So it is frustrating, often, those games they play, right? But if you are a man that gets it, if you can be a man that gets it most of the time, allow yourself some slack, cut yourself some slack. Hopefully your women cut you a little bit of slack as well when you're not quite on the ball. But if you're a man that gets it most of the time, she's going to love it. She's going to love it. She doesn't have to tell you how to be a man and how to be a good man in that relationship. She's going to love it, man. She really will. And even if she doesn't, she ain't the one for you.